Hello friends and welcome to sustainableprepping.com, your home for fear-free emergency preparedness on the internet. I'm Brecky and today we're talking about 5 kitchen first aid items that you probably already have. Let's get started. If you are new here, I just want to say welcome. I'm so glad you found my slice of the internet. If you're not new, I want to say welcome back. I'm so glad you're here again. Today we're talking about 5 items you probably already have in your kitchen and how you can incorporate them into your at-home first aid. One of the things that we need to start thinking about when we think about emergency preparedness is the ways in which things can be used for multiple purposes. So lots of kitchen items can actually have healing benefits. In fact, Hippocrates, the ancient physician and philosopher, said, "Let food be thy medicine and thy medicine be thy food." And really, we can think about the things that we're eating, the things that we're cooking with, the herbs and the spices. They often have medicinal properties that can help us, particularly in a time of crisis. Just in case your over-the-counter medications run out, just in case your first aid kit needs a little oomph, here are 5 very common items that you probably already have and ways that you can start incorporating them into your first aid preparations. The first one is turmeric. I actually brought this up so you could kind of see what it looks like. This kind of golden powder. Woo! It's getting everywhere. Turmeric is a spice that is often used in Indian cooking. We love Indian food in our house, so we use it for curries and things. But turmeric is well documented to have an anti-inflammatory effect. In fact, if you are someone who lives with a chronic digestive illness or an autoimmune disease, they often prescribe turmeric tablets to help you lessen the inflammation in your body. Now, turmeric, if you want it to be more bioavailable, so more absorbable by your body, you need to take it with capsaicin or black pepper. And you can often get tablets, little pills you can have that are turmeric with capsaicin already mixed together. But if you are somebody who does a lot of cooking at home, which you probably are right now since 2020 and 2021 have been the year of eating at home, turmeric is a great thing that you can add into curries. You can add it into homemade broth if you make your own chicken broth, for example, and it has a nice earthy flavor and an anti-inflammatory effect. Now, the reason you'd want to have it as a part of your kitchen arsenal for first aid is that if you're having an inflammatory reaction to something, particularly your gut health, but really anything, turmeric can be one of the tools you use to reduce overall body inflammation to help your body heal from whatever is causing that inflammation. So it could be cold or flu, it could be an infection, it could be an autoimmune flare of some kind. I live with a digestive illness and flares are a real thing. One of the ways that you can use turmeric effectively for digestive health is to create golden milk, right? Or a golden latte. These are really popular in coffee shops, at least they were before the pandemic started. I'm sure they will be when we're all able to drink outside the house again. But basically, you want to mix your turmeric powder. So this is one brand, and like I said, it's this very golden color, and you want to mix it with a little bit of black pepper, and then you're going to mix that with fat and milk, and then you can add in a little bit of sweetener like honey if you want, or maple syrup is good too. But you're going to use, I use a little bit of this, about a teaspoon or so of the turmeric, a little shake of pepper, and then about half a cup of milk to a cup of milk. I use cow's milk because I drink dairy, but you could use almond milk or coconut milk, for example, and then a little bit of coconut oil, so half a tablespoon or so. Mix it all together till everything's melted, and then I like to froth it up with a milk frother or sticking it in a blender and drink it that way. You can add a little bit of sweetener. I would recommend a little bit of sweetener. This is quite earthy. And that allows you to have like a chai kind of latte. You could actually mix black tea with it if you wanted. And you have this latte, this fat-soluble, anti-inflammatory compound going into your digestive tract and really helping to lower inflammation. So having turmeric on hand is a great thing to have in your kitchen. You probably already use it. If you don't, add it in, start learning to cook with it, and it can help bring down inflammation. Particularly in a crisis where your cortisol levels are probably up because you're anxious, this is a great tool to have and to already know how to use. The second item is making a mustard plaster. Now I want to put a caveat here that you need to do your own research. You need to research the ingredients. You need to decide for yourself if this is something you're willing to do. However, a mustard plaster is a historical way to help bring blood to the surface of the skin in order to help with the expellation of phlegm in the chest. So you can put it on the top of the chest, you can put it on the back, but a mustard plaster using mustard powder that you can get at the grocery store. We have some, I forgot to grab it actually. We got it for $1 at our local Walmart. You can get mustard powder almost anywhere. But you have to remember, and this has a big caveat, okay, that mustard is an irritant, right? It can irritate your eyes, it can irritate your nose, and it can burn the skin if used too intensely. So definitely do your research as far as what kind of mustard plaster you would be willing to use, if you're willing to use it. But you would put it on the skin, and it brings blood to the surface. That heat brings blood to the surface to help you expel an illness that's in your lungs. I am going to link below a video to the Homesteading Family channel. Caroline, the mom of the family, is very well versed in using herbs for medicinal purposes, and mustard plaster is one of the things she's taught on. So I will link that video in case you want to do your own research. But remember, you need to do your own research about whether or not you want to use mustard. But if you do, it's very effective. It's something very common. We cook with mustard, but again, it can be an irritant. So you need to think seriously about whether or not you want to use that. The third item is honey, and I didn't bring it up just because I'm in my office and I don't want to get my keyboard to my computer sticky. Honey is something that almost everybody has, and if you don't have it, why? Unless you're vegan, you should definitely get some honey. Honey is fantastic. In fact, it's almost like a panacea. It's almost like a cure-all. Honey is antimicrobial and antibacterial and antifungal. You really can't grow anything gross in honey. So if you're in a situation where you have a wound and you run out of your Neosporin, you can clean the wound and put honey on it, and no bacteria can grow in that wound. Isn't that crazy? It's amazing. Honey also has been found to be just as effective as most over-the-counter cough syrups as far as soothing your throat and bronchial region from a cough. So having honey on hand to mix with tea, to mix with warm water, to drink, right? Lemon and honey, a hot toddy if you drink alcohol, mixed with honey, right? All of that can help soothe a sore throat from coughing, an irritated bronchial and chest region. Honey is fantastic for that. Now, you want to be careful with the kind of honey that you get. If you can get raw and unpasteurized honey, that's awesome. It's a little bit more expensive, but you want to get honey that has not been ultra pasteurized. If it's been ultra pasteurized, there's some question of whether it's really efficacious as far as being an antibacterial, antimicrobial, and all those sorts of elements. But you really want to get, if you can, low pasteurized or not pasteurized honey. This just means it hasn't been heated up. Now, there are some people who say that you can actually help to lessen your histamine response during the spring season, right, to all the stuff that's blooming. If you have allergies, you can actually lower your histamine response to those allergens if you take a little bit of local honey every single day. A little bit of local honey means you're getting the pollen from the local bee colonies and the local things that are blooming, and that theoretically can help with your histamine response. I haven't tried that. I personally don't have a lot of allergies, and so I haven't tried that, but I've heard really good things. So that's something for you to research for your family and consider as an option should your over-the-counter allergy medications become less effective or unavailable. My fourth recommendation is good old-fashioned ginger. This is what ginger root looks like if you've never used it. It looks like a gnarly knob, and ginger is fantastic for helping with nausea, helping with tummy upset, and helping with gas. Now, when I was pregnant with my twins, I had really awful nausea. I didn't have as much actual vomiting, but lots and lots of nausea during that first trimester and really into the early part of a second trimester. And I drank ginger tea, and I ate these little ginger chews, which were just ginger kind of mixed with a little bit of honey. And man, that helped my nausea incredibly. That and peppermints, but peppermints have a lot of sugar. Ginger is just fantastic because it really does help with that nausea. Ginger tea can help with nausea. Ginger tea can help with upset stomach, but you can also add ginger into all kinds of recipes to just get that sort of digestive support into your daily life. Now, ginger can become spicy if you use a lot of it. Ginger can also be used if you are someone who has a lot of bloating and gas. Man, ginger tea for some gas relief is really, really helpful and effective. So if you are looking for a more natural remedy, a on-hand kind of remedy for nausea or gas, man, having some ginger is the way to go. And you know what? Ginger tastes really, really good, so can't go wrong with that. My fifth and final recommendation for everyday items that you already have in your kitchen that can also be used in your first aid cabinet is going to be garlic. What list of medicinal kitchen staples would be complete if I didn't mention garlic. Garlic has allium in it, and that is incredible immune boosting properties. It helps to get the immune function going, and it supports your immune function. It also is antimicrobial and antifungal. So there's a reason why Grandma always put a ton of garlic in your healing chicken noodle soup or in that chicken broth that she made. That is a reason why the French eat a ton of garlic, right? Garlic just has so many good properties. Now, not everybody can eat garlic, so that's something that you should discover for yourself now, what your tolerance is. Sometimes the allium in garlic can be hard to digest on folks, particularly if you have an inflamed digestive tract. It can be too much. It can be just an overabundance. So really practice now with what works for you. In fact, there is a recipe that I have used before where you take the bulbs of the little cloves out of your bulb of garlic, you peel them, and you put them in a mason jar, and you pack them in as many as you can, and you cover it with really good honey, and you let it sit for a few weeks to a month. And then at the first sign of the sniffles, you pop one of those softened garlic bulbs. They're slightly sweet, and that gives you a really intense immune boosting effect, right? That allium of the garlic, the properties of the honey, man, that's gonna really rev your immune system engine. And it's very low maintenance. It's not expensive. You can make it, and it doesn't taste bad. You know, it tastes like sweetened garlic, which sounds weird, but it's really very good. So think about these staples. These are all things most people have in their kitchen. If they do any cooking, you have garlic, you have honey, you have spices, and I recommend getting turmeric, and I recommend having real ginger as ways to start using your kitchen as a part of your extended medicine cabinet. Now, I want to caveat and say nutrition is a huge part of that, and that's not what this video is about. This is about using things in your kitchen for specific medicinal uses. So keep all of that in mind. Now, it wouldn't be a sustainable prepping video if I didn't give you at least one bonus, and that bonus today is fire cider. Fire cider is where you take a bunch of elements, you stick them in a jar, and you cover it with apple cider vinegar. You let it sit for 6 weeks to a couple months, and then you take it. Fire cider is traditionally made with garlic and ginger, plus onions, horseradish root, that's sort of the one weird thing you'd probably have to find, red pepper flakes sometimes, some people put rosemary or thyme in it, and you just jam pack a mason jar full, you pour good apple cider vinegar of a kind with the mother, and let it sit for several weeks, then you strain it. And this creates this really high, intensely flavored vinegar. And this drinking vinegar is used at the first sign of cough or cold. You take a little teaspoon and you just drink it. You can even drink it with a little bit of honey and like a little shot, shooter during cold and flu season. And what it does is it raises the internal temperature of the body. We have to remember that fever isn't necessarily a bad thing. Fever is trying to burn out the virus or the bacteria that's in your body. It's trying to burn out the invader. And so as you feel a little bit under the weather, as you feel those sniffles coming, you can artificially raise that internal temperature with this spicy vinegar that helps your body to create and produce heat that can then help you prevent, right, a further infection or a further viral problem by kind of making a fake fever, if you will. Fire cider is great, and we have some downstairs, but again, I'm in my office and I really didn't want to drag all that stuff up here. I suggest you make your own if at all possible. Again, it's very simple. I will link a video down below to one recipe for fire cider, and you can research your own and figure out what would work best for you and your family. But I think it's one of an arsenal of tools that can help us. I'm not against over-the-counter medications. If you watched any of my last videos, I definitely recommend having many of them on hand. But if you want to enhance the effectiveness of those over-the-counter medications, you don't want to be reliant on them. And if you're in a situation where you have blown through your over-the-counter medications and you're still having problems and you don't have access to more, you want to know how to be able to put your kitchen to good use. And these are 5 ways. Hope you all are doing well. Comment down below and let me know what you have in your kitchen that you could also use in your first aid kit. There are dozens more options, but these are just 5 to get you started. Don't forget that we have a Facebook group that's very active, and I want you to come and be a part of it. We're having these conversations, we're growing, we're deepening, and it's just a really supportive community. So if you are new to your preparedness journey, or if you're not, we invite you to come and join our Facebook community so that you can share your knowledge and you can encourage others. I'll have the link and everything down below. Hope you're all doing well, and until next week,